Can I just get a glass of water standing by, please? Or whatever's over there. Still is fine. I just ate all those almonds and... Anyway.
It's nice at least.
Yeah, it's nice. Have you ever stayed here? You don't have to because you live here.
Never been here, actually.
It's really well done.
So many beautiful hotels around.
But they say that this is haunted. And it's really weird because in my room...
In your room, right?
It keeps, the lights keep going off. Thank you. Is there a straw? Because otherwise it misses. Thanks, Claire. Yeah, it keeps going off.
You got someone to do your makeup and stuff here. Mm-hmm. It's a good color.
Thank you. It's really good.
Yep.
All right then. Mariah, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very well. Well, let's talk about your album first. Success of your latest album, Daydream. Has it been better than expected?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really expect anything. I just hope that people will like my project and, you know, because I put so much into doing it, and when you're writing and producing and you're in the studio for so long and then you put it out, if it's well received, it's really, you know, gratifying. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, you are a singer, songwriter, producer. You seem to be very much in control of everything. Is that what you want?
It's not, I mean, I don't do it because I want to be in control. It's just that I think it's part of the creative process for me. It's part of, you know, my enjoyment of making music and singing. You know, it's not just going in there after someone's written and produced a track and putting a vocal on and leaving. Because I don't know, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And I love writing as much as, not as much, but almost as much as I love singing, and it's just a part of me. And I think that producing goes hand in hand with that, because if you write a song and you just give it to someone else to produce, it might not be what you were feeling when you created the song, you know. So, I mean, I didn't realize it, but all the while I was making demos, you know, when you're contributing to the outcome of the song, you're producing it, whether you're singing them a string line that you want, or if you're saying, you know, break it down here, you're producing. So it was just a natural evolution, I guess.
All right. Well, your new single, Open Arms, was not written by yourself, written by Journey. Why? Why did you pick that song?
Because I have a lot of good memories growing up of singing that song, and I think that Steve Perry's an incredible vocalist, and, you know, I've always thought it'd be a great song to perform, you know, and to do my rendition of, which I like to do, you know, as well as writing. It's always interesting to do a classic song, you know, and then kind of, not that you make it your own, but you do your own rendition of it, and so it becomes your own version. And like now when I think about it, you know, after I've been doing these songs for so long, they don't feel like cover songs anymore after I do them. You know, it's fun.
But how do you do that? Because I was listening to the song, and it sounds like a classic Mariah song. And I thought, well, it's written by, you know, two different people. And I mean, how do you do that? You listen to the song, you think, well, I'd like to do a version of that one, and you start singing, or how do you...
Usually any song that I do, you know, that I do a cover of is something that has been special to me in some way, you know, growing up, throughout my life, whatever. And I'm always listening to the radio. I'm always singing something. So I guess from singing them for so many years and loving them, they just they become my own in a way. You know, of course, the classic version will always be there, and I'll always hold that up as, you know, the first and the best version. But I mean, I think that I bring my own thing to it.
And have you had any reactions from them? What has Steve Perry said about your version? Has he?
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right. Well, the video for it is a live video, isn't it? Where and when was that shot?
That was shot in October at Madison Square Garden in New York, and it was taken from my television special. It was on Fox, and it was a lot of fun because I grew up in New York, and so whenever I do a show there, it's the most enjoyable thing because a lot of people that, you know, I grew up with, and, you know, it's my hometown, so.
Well, excellent. Well, there's some really interesting collaborations on the album, one of them with Boyz II Men. What was it like working with them?
It was so much fun working with Boyz II Men, and it was something that I really, really wanted to happen. And so I was just, ecstatic that it actually came together the way that it did. And what happened was I wrote the initial idea for the song with Walter Afanasieff, who I collaborate with for the past few albums. And then after I wrote the chorus, I stopped because I really, really wanted Boyz II Men to do it with me. And I just said, this would be perfect I'm like, this should have the style of vocals that Boyz II Men do. And then I'm like, I want to see if I can get Boyz II Men to do it with me. And so, it takes a lot to put the scheduling thing together, and, they're busy, I'm busy, everything else. And then they came in, and I was just like, oh, I hope they like it. I was nervous singing it for them because they're all incredible singers, individually. So, anyway, when I sang it to them, they had this kind of strange reaction because Nate had written a song that was basically identical in the theme for their road manager who had passed away. And melodically, the songs just worked perfectly. I mean, his song fit over my song, so we put them together, and then we finished it.
Fantastic. And also, I mean, the video, you guys seem like you're having a really good time. I spoke to Sean Stockman actually a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him about it, and he said, right, she's cool, man. And he was like talking about this whole shoot, and he's always very polite and very sweet, but he loved it as well.
They're all really nice guys, and I think it was cool that on the video we just filmed what we were doing. That's actually us making the record. First of all, because we would not have had time to make a video. I mean, it was bad enough trying to they were on tour, and I was getting ready to put my album out, so, I mean, I was like, we better document this while we're doing it. And so that's what it is. It's just, basically a documentary of the making of One Sweet Day. And I'm really glad we did it because it's fun to be able to work with other successful young artists and to have that kind of feedback because, you become kind of isolated when you do this in a way. And so I'm really glad that I met them.
So you're going to be performing with them very soon, I heard.
On the Grammys, yeah.
And you're nominated a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to do the same song? You're going to do One Sweet Day?
We're doing One Sweet Day, yeah. We're opening the show with One Sweet Day. So I was actually talking to Wanye on the phone last night, and we were kind of like planning some things out. So that was good. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, if you've got any plans of doing any other tracks with him in the future, or maybe with other bands, other artists that you would really like to collaborate with?
I just did a remix for the song "Always Be My Baby," which is going to be the next single in America. I'm not sure when it's coming out here, but it's a remix. Jermaine Dupri and I wrote the song, and he did the remix, and we have Debrat and Escape on it, and it's really, really good. I love it. So.
And what kind of sound? What's the sound like? What's it about?
The vibe of the remix is, the song "Tell Me If You Still Care" by the SOS Band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's like one of my favorite all-time songs, and what it is basically the original melody of "Always Be My Baby," the album version over. Like a loop of "Tell Me." It's not a loop; it's replayed, but it's because it's in a different key. But yeah, it's really good. I really like it.
Good,
not to it's my own thing. I guess I don't want to sound conceited or anything here, but I just like it because it's I just got done with it and been listening to it, and Debrat's part is really good, and Escapes. We sang a bunch of new background vocals together and stuff, and we also did the video kind of the same way I did with the Boyz II Men thing, but it's got sort of a retro kind of 60s vibe going. It's like shot in black and white, and it's a lot of outtakes and fun stuff. Shot during a snowstorm, the day after the snowstorm, at my house. We did it in my studio, so it's cool.
That sounds excellent. Well, I wonder if it's going to be, released here as well as the next single.
Hopefully. I hope it will.
Okay. Let's see. You've co-produced other artists' albums as well, haven't you? One of them is Trey Lawrence.
Trey Lawrence.
Yeah, you're backing vocalist. Are you doing any other things like that? Any other projects like that?
Well, I'm probably going to be writing with Trey again. He's doing a new album, and the stuff he has already sounds great. He's been working with a lot of really good producers and stuff, so that'll be something I'm looking forward to doing. And I'm also doing a label, and that's in the works right now, but I'm working with a couple different groups, and one group in particular is called Blue Denim, and they're female. They rap and they sing, and actually one of them is the sister of Salt from Salt and Pepper, and their names are Kimmy Cat and Sugar Sean, and they're very cute. And the record is going to be really, really good. They already have a lot of good material, so I'm looking forward to that, and we wrote a couple of songs together.
Fantastic. Any other bands, any other acts, girls you're working with for your label? And what's up?
Not yet. I mean, there's a lot of things in the works, but nothing's nailed down right now, so I wouldn't want to say anything yet.
Okay. Well, we're in Europe. Are you going to tour here soon? What's happening?
Eventually. Right now I've only done one tour, so far in my lengthy 5-year career.
Why is that? Because I was reading through your biographies, and you haven't toured much at all.
No. Well, it was difficult because I started out without really doing any performing live, and more from the songwriting into things and being in the studio, and that's kind of the way I came about. And then all of a sudden I got to this level where I hadn't done it, and it became a big deal that I hadn't done it, and the only thing I really ever did live was the Unplugged thing, and that was the first thing that, that really shouldn't be your first thing that you do. So that kind of broke the ice a little bit. And then when I did my first show, it was at this huge arena, and I wasn't prepared for it. For that to be the first time you ever put tickets on sale for a show, being in front of thousands of people in a huge arena, it's a little overwhelming. And then, they kind of really ripped me to shreds, the critics, and it was upsetting because I'd never done it. I wasn't prepared, but in a way it was good because it made me so angry that the next show was great because I let go of all my inhibitions, and I just did my show and sang, and then, not that I have to bank on this or whatever, but then the reviews were much more representative of that, because it was much more free, because I got to the point where I was like, look, it can't get worse than that. And so at the end of the tour, I came to really enjoy doing shows. The only problem is I have to take care of my voice, so I can't go out and do these tours like where people go and they do night after night. I can't do that because I'm not going to do that to myself and to my voice, and I have more respect for my voice than to do that, because I'll destroy it, because I wrote all my songs up here. And my natural voice is actually lower, so people want to come see me, they want me to sound good, so I can only do a few shows a week. That's why actually I'm getting ready to do Japan, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be my first international thing, and three Tokyo domes, so that's coming up.
That sounds excellent. Actually, your manager just told me that was your Merry Christmas album was the #1 selling album of all times or something in Japan.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Crazy. So when are you coming to Europe? I'm sure the fans here would love to hear when you're gonna.
Well, I have to, let me get through the Japanese tour first, and see how I do doing more than one a week, because last time I only did one a week, and even then it was, it was hard to recuperate from each show. To me, to get to the point where I feel good. Because I don't want people to come and be like, oh, she was hoarse, she sounded wretched, So I definitely want to tour here. The fans have been so supportive of me here, and so I have to do this, and then hopefully sometime this year.
Okay, well, I'm sure they'll be looking forward to it. Okay, well, a lot of stars, that we interview, they kind of get really tired of their routine, doing their interviews and their shooting videos. I mean, how do you cope with it all? I mean, you're not doing too many gigs, as you just said.
Right.
But, how do you kind of...
I don't know. I mean, it is tiring when you're traveling around and you do a show, or, say I'm doing different TV shows around the world, basically, and traveling, and I'm in one country one night, and the same night I go to the next country, and then I go to the next country. And so even though you're not doing concerts, it's still tiring, the flying and all that, and whatever. But you deal with it. I mean, there could be where I could have a worse job, please. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's bitter. There are a lot of, I've been noticing certain people seem to be very bitter, and it's like, look, you're a star, you're successful, you're obviously living your dream, be happy. Don't be angry at the world. What do you have to be angry about? There's a lot of things I don't like about doing this, I mean, things that are just out of control that, you just want to hide under the covers and not come out. But, it's like you have to take the good with the bad, so I'm okay.
All right. Well, how important is success to you? Do you think you can get addicted to a lifestyle? I mean, look at where you're staying, and do you get addicted to being successful?
Well, I don't think you can get addicted to it. I mean, I guess some people could. But what I try to do is think about where I've been and, where I grew up and where I am now. And the conveniences make it easier to work 24 hours a day, which is basically what I do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Which I think, that's why people can get addicted to this, because when you're working hard and you're traveling from place to place and you're really giving all of yourself to the world, you need something back, you know what I mean? But I don't take anything for granted, because I grew up with basically no money, and all I had was a dream, and the dream was to do this. So.
Wow. Do you think you still lead a normal life?
No. This is not normal. I mean, I'm still a normal person, regardless of whatever, But this isn't a normal life.
Yeah. I mean, would you ever want to go back to like having a 9-to-5 job and being anonymous?
Well, I've never had a 9-to-5 job.
Okay.
So I don't know what it's like, because I went, from school to waitressing for and doing crazy jobs and working in the studio and backup singing, and basically condensed a lifetime of work into a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. But I never did the 9-to-5 thing because everything happened so fast, and I don't think I ever could, because I'm very disciplined when it's what I want to do, but I'm not disciplined enough to do that. Mm-hmm. So I respect people who do that a lot.
Good. Well, I mean, being in constant view of the public, is it difficult to have your private life?
Yeah.
Yeah, you tend not to talk about it at all. Is that your way of kind of, that's completely separate from
Well, I think
work?
When I'm asked questions about it, I talk about it in a way that I feel comfortable with, but I'm not one of those people who needs to go into the sordid details of my life on national television to get attention or whatever. Some things are better left unsaid, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, at the moment, the female solo artist is doing extremely well. I mean, there's you, Mary J. Blige, Whitney, Janet. How does it feel to be part of such a talented bunch of people?
I think it's great that there are so many successful female artists right now, because, I mean, there's room for everybody, in my opinion, and it's great that the public is being so accepting right now, of female artists, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're saying that there's room for everyone, because, there's always is there a sense of rivalry between you and, for instance, Whitney Houston?
Not for me. I can't speak for anyone but myself.
Okay, thank you. And why do you think that there's so many big female artists in America? I mean, in Europe, we kind of have Björk and Annie Lennox. Is it an American thing, do you think?
I have no idea.
Well, I don't have an idea. I'm just asking you, because maybe...
No, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it's all about the music and whatever people are vibing off of and liking, is going to be successful. I mean, I think we we have more radio stations there. We have just more exposure, I guess. Right? I mean, do you agree with that? That there, I mean, at home there are, on the dial there are like, I don't know how many stations, and here in each country they have, you know, a much fewer amount, and I guess maybe you hear more. I don't know. No idea.
No, I wouldn't know either. That's
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. No idea.
All right. Well, I'd like to ask a bit more about songwriting, because what do you do? How do you write a good song?
I think it's just whatever you're feeling, and you try to, you know, translate that into the music. And I think that it helps if people can relate to what you're saying and to the emotion that you're emoting through the song.
Do you think your songs reflect your emotions? Are they?
I think anytime, if you're a singer, when you sing, that's emotion coming out of you. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel like you can sing anything, and it's a representation of your soul. If you're, you know, it's something you're putting out. That's how I feel about it. I mean, music is such a strong thing for me, and it's such a force in my life that, you know, whatever I sing is coming from inside in some way.
Mm-hmm. And the inspiration for your songs, do you usually get that from everyday life things, or
memories, everyday life, inner moments, what have you?
Okay, well, how do you know you've written a good song?
I guess it's something that you feel. If you feel proud of it, you know, there are things that I feel closer to that I've done and that I feel more proud of than other things. You know, I mean, I could pick out the songs that are the closest to me, you know, on each album. Just, I couldn't tell you why, you know.
Because I guess, I mean, what you think is a good song, I mean, the public might not think it's a good song, or your friends might not think it's a good song.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I'm a radio addict, and I grew up listening to the radio night and day, and I still do. And there's never a time when I'm without a radio or without music. So I'm one of those people that always said, you know, I would listen to the radio and go, that's going to be number one, you know, whatever song. And I was usually a pretty good indicator of that because I just live, you know, through the music so much that I always used to do that. So whatever that means.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions, kind of retro, going back in your whole career. What were the significant turning points in your career?
Significant turning points. In my life, in terms of, or since
your
I put out
life,
my
your
first
career.
album?
I mean, were there any moments that things changed radically? And
yeah, there were a lot of them. I mean, the chain of events that led to that moment when I handed over the tape to Tommy would be a big one. I would say that that was a major turning point there.
what was that? Was that 1990 or?
No, that was before that,
Yeah.
like a year and a half before that. And basically, you know, the process of, I mean, I had written a lot of the songs that ended up on my first album. They were on that demo, you know, so that was important. I almost didn't go to that party that night. So, let's see. The process of being able to have the control, to be able to say, you know, I'd like to produce, I'd like to, you know, co-produce, I'd like to, you know, have the power to say how I want my music to sound. And that's been, I mean, even though I've been writing and co-producing basically since, I mean, writing since the first album, and I produced one song and then co-producing from then on and writing, it's been a process to be able to kind of say, I really want to do this type of thing. You know, it's important to me. And I feel for the first time on this album that this album as a whole reflects that a lot more. And just being able to do like the remixes and the collaborations and things like that that make me more well-rounded as an artist, you know. And I feel like I'm at that place now where I'm, you know, I'm feeling good about stuff.
And you've even directed your own videos, haven't you? Was that the one for Fantasy?
Fantasy and the new video for Always Be My Baby, which, as I said, is not out yet here. There are actually two videos. There's one's for the album version, and then one is the one I told you about. Didn't I just tell you that? I've done so many interviews today. the Bratton Escape video that we filmed the video while we were doing that. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you going to do that more? I mean, do you like being involved in directing your own videos?
I like being involved in it. I think that, on Fantasy, it was kind of like it was definitely a learning experience for me. And I look at it now, and some shots I love, and some shots I hate, and some shots, I'm like, oh, if only we would have done two more things like this, because it was a very ambitious shoot for anybody to be able to go from day to night to having this huge setup in the parking lot, to having the roller coaster thing, to having all the daylit stuff. It's a big deal to do that. It's very ambitious. If I could go back and do it again, I probably would have just done the daytime stuff, because it would have been easier, and I would have had more footage that was similar. But whatever, it's done, and I'm happy with it as my first effort. The new videos that I did, I really love the remix one because it has more of a free kind of style, because it is pretty much documentary. It just has a more relaxed feeling than when you do a staged set-up video. Yet it still has kind of an editorial feel because it is sort of retro and it has a great look. So I like doing stuff like that. I had about 1.5 takes of my self singing the song, and I sang it to the wrong version. I sang it to the album version, and I synced it up with the remix version. So I had barely enough footage of myself singing it, but it was actually better because I didn't have all the choices, and I had the freedom to use outtakes of me, like with my cat, or me with the girls in the video, or me with whatever, the people around. My dog was swimming in the pool while we did this session, so it was a little bit more disjointed, and I like that.
That sounds really nice. Okay, the most significant achievements in your eyes?
I guess the most significant achievements would be, the songs that I feel the most proud of, and the fact that I've reached so many different types of people, in race, age, everything. That's very important to me. And different, people that don't even I don't speak the same language as, that the music has been such a universal thing. That's an incredible achievement to me, and just being able to do this in general, to have realized my goals so quickly is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. You're a big gospel music fan, aren't you? Mm-hmm. How important are gospel and God to you in your life?
Very important. It's a very personal thing for me, but definitely I owe everything to my belief in God and to my prayers, and I really believe that I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the faith, to get here. So.
Wow. How much different is Mariah Carey now compared to when she recorded her first album 6 years ago?
I'm different in terms of what I've seen and what I've experienced, and that has changed me. And because I have to be a lot more guarded and everything now, and a lot more paranoid. But I'm the same person inside, and I just think that success in general has made me, if you can believe it, and it's very corny sounding, but it's just made me, I think, a nicer person and a better person because I'm so grateful for all the things that I have that, before I was just like, when is this going to happen? It was just like a tense my whole life was a tense waiting period to get a record deal and to make an album, and my whole life, that's all I wanted to do. So that gave me kind of a certain, not a ruthless quality, but just like an on-edge thing. Like I was just kind of in limbo, waiting. So, I'm a little more relaxed.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of through my questions, and I guess... Yeah, half hour is okay. Thank you.
Sure.
If you can do a signature for my brothers.
Sure.
I love you to death. I got your video here. Oh, jeez. Oh.
I don't know. I'm just like going with the flow to like an 8. 4 more?
Oh no, we did 4.
Oh, okay. I'm like 4 more. Please tell me. Say it isn't so. Don't forget, you promised to get my shoe in.
Yeah, actually, can you do that first? You just get some title work.
Why not? Might as well get some use out of freaking things.
My brothers cried when they heard I was going to
Yeah?
If Mariah can just listen.
Oh, you're filming already. All right. Fantastic then. Hold on. Okay.
talking about my brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so sweet that from Holland. And I called them and said, "Why to America?" And one of them started crying, said, "Please, can I come over and have the Bible?" So I said, "Oh, I prefer an autograph." So which journalists have you spoken to today? Was it all English TV or is it...
I'm not supposed to go there a lot. Go back.
I try to. I mean, I have to work here in Holland. It's like, yeah.
Wait, let's not get it. Hold on, don't get that yet because I put my foot like that. That's better because I have a line on my foot from the strap. Yeah.
There we go. You can see the side there and get those
Okay.
in there.
Fantastic. Don't get too close to my legs. I don't know when I shaved them. That's cute.
How's that?
That's good.
Oh, so.
That one's screwy.
Now you're building your heart now.
That one's better. Yeah, that's nice.
There, like that.
Don't show everyone how big my
10
feet are.
seconds of that. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so
Should we bring a hand around?
Sure.
yeah, I think it was just really your hands on your lap for some of the interview. It just helped us there. Look at that spark right there. Hang on. Get in on that.
Okay, I'll work that one a little. Anyway, so yeah.
Maybe taking part.
You can't just stop your hands.